Hey, what's up, guys? Just a Frosty Sexts educational video for you, real quick. Just a little note about how men are, how our minds work. So, this is for men to be more aware of themselves and for women to be aware of how men are. So, this is kind of meta, but men have to think with their big brain about how their little brain acts and control it. So not only do we have to be aware of the little brain with our big brain, but we have to use our big brain as a tool to keep that bitch in check. All right? It's kind of meta level of awareness that we need because we are primal animals. When we're like a lion walking on the street, and when we see a hot woman, she is the gazelle, and our primal instinct kicks in, says, tackle the gazelle, tackle the gazelle, tackle the gazelle, tackle the gazelle, okay? And that thought is always there. You can't control it. So one, be more forgiving of your boyfriend or husband's being attracted to other women, and understand that he has to enforce an incredible amount of self-control on himself in order to not only not act on it, but just especially to not even look at it, to be like the good guy on the date. It's literally nearly impossible for us not to look, So just, you have to be aware of that and forgiving of that, and honestly talking about the kinds of people and like the kinds of things that you find attractive can actually help your relationship because it improves communication. And also, like, you can play a game with each other in a relationship context, like, keeping up appearances for each other. You want to be attractive for your partner. You have to keep that fire alive, so to speak. And it's not just about communication. It's about what you do and how you carry yourself. Like, you have to continue to be the same person who that person started dating. And, that's why relationships can be so exhausting on the end. But the benefits to that in the long run are profound, Anyway, not only that, but also just this level of awareness that we need it's paramount for our society to be civil. It's one of the main things that men have to restrain themselves on a daily basis in order to keep society civilized. Like, on average, men are more disagreeable than women from just a pure personality standpoint. So we're more likely to take risks, break the rules, especially if it's going to benefit us, So that's connected to that primal instinct of, sexual inclination in our heads, that's telling us, the lions, to tackle the gazelle as soon as we see a woman we're attracted to, So it's like, yeah, men are highly incarcerated, but we're also the men who arrest bad guys. So it's like, you can have it good or evil, but it's always both. This is the nature of reality, is good and evil on a fundamental, rational, moral level, the level on which we are forced really to live on. And so yeah, it's not just about the relationship thing and, keeping things civil, but keeping things open and respectful, and forgiving of each other for our natural ways that we are, but having that balance of, like, being open to that and talking about that and expressing it to whatever degree your relationship agreement allows for, and also having, the respect of your partner and, like, knowing where those parameters are. Another thing that women, you have to keep in mind if you're a woman listening to this is that there is no such equivalent for women in terms of self-awareness and self-control in order to keep society civil. Women are not required by our, system of government, our court system, all the incentives to sort of, like, be a single mother to, women are always the victim. And the court system and the government will always take care of women when it comes down to it, and incarcerate men, often on the basis of nothing. Even on that extreme level, I'm not saying that always happens, but it does happen where woman's side is taken, especially in divorce court, almost unanimously, as we know, that the woman's side is taken really without investigation. There's no due process when it comes to gender difference, because it's a deep difference in our nature that laws cannot really account for. You know what I mean? So there's no equivalent of self-awareness that's required of a woman in order for us to, keep society civil, keep families intact, etc. Women's hypergamous nature, their need for a provider, their need to date and marry up the socioeconomic pyramid in order to be provided for and to feel in their feminine, submissive, as they want to feel, safe, secure, etc., emotionally, physically, financially. Women are allowed to let their feminine nature flow freely and to not be self-aware, to simply act on their natural inclinations. Our, gynocentric culture enforces it. It enforces women to not be self-aware in the ways that I'm saying. Whereas for men are constantly having to restrain themselves, back off, and basically cede ground and power to a woman anytime shit hits the fan. Because a man acting on his nature is seen as aggressive, toxic, and dangerous. And it can be all of those things. Not saying that it can't be. But equality does not exist. It never will exist, and that's because men and women are not equal. We're not the same. So we sort of have to protect one or the other. The laws, in, say, divorce court, have to favor one over the other if we're going to have a system of laws that we can apply to every case. Of course, we can't justifiably, truthfully, honestly apply the same set of laws and restrictions to every single case, because every single case is different. We're talking about individuals forming partnerships and the new energy that sort of partnership brings. And that's different all the time, because you've been in relationships and things with the opposite sex, and every person's different, And if you do have a lot of repeated patterns, well, that may be good or bad. You might want to check out, why that's happening. And either keep that going if it's good, or change yourself if that pattern is something bad, something that you don't desire, because it implies you have to work through something of your own. So anyway, that's a rambling about male nature, how we are lions chasing gazelles all the time, at least in our mind. And the level of self-awareness and restraint that's required of men is profound. And women will never know what it's like to be a guy. It's like tackle the gazelle, We are inclined toward violence, towards tribalism, towards sexual assault. It goes through our mind, there's nothing stopping me from grabbing that chick in the convenience store by the arm and taking her around back and assaulting her. I have that capability. I have that power. I can do that to any woman physically who I want. And I could probably get away with it too, I'm not going to do that because I have a moral backbone. I understand the consequences of that. And, it's not necessarily the type of relationship that I'm looking for, So anyway, just wanted to point out those very fundamental differences between men and women. Men have to practice incredible awareness and restraint. Women, none of it. See you guys in the next one. Cheers.